Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Introduction. Introduction to Diablo 2 classes. So here we have the Amazon. So the Amazon is a very interesting class because it is neither a ranged class, nor a melee class, nor anything in between. It's actually all of them. And you can build it any way that you would like. First off, let's go ahead and give our character some gear. So, we're going to put some Goblin toe boots on. Well, we can't really do that because Goblin toe boots are 50 strength. So we need to build at least enough strength so that we can equip our gear. So, for instance, with our Goblin toe boots, let's go ahead and slap those on. And we've got ourselves a Ralort Towel, Ancient's Pledge. Let's go ahead and throw that on. And we'll slap the Hawkmail in there. You know what? Let's do Coif of Glory. Some Angelic Wings. We definitely need some Lifesteal, so some Cathans. You know, actually, let's put the Lore in there. That sounds better. And we could definitely use some Sanders for the extra attack speed. Throw on a Nagel Ring. Why not? Actually, let's put the Angelic Halo on. And a bow. And we can put Stealth on instead of that, but it really doesn't matter. Yeah, well, so I guess... No, we can't put it on because we need more strength. Alright, so we're going to build up our strength a little bit more. And that's pretty much what you want to do with your strength. It's just build it up to the point where you need it. Not much further, because there's really no point in building your strength very high on an Amazon. The next thing we're going to do is look at our dexterity. So on an Amazon, your dexterity is going to matter for one of two reasons. It's going to give you extra range damage, but it's also going to affect your block rate. So for instance, if you are a Boazon, you are not going to worry about your block rate. And if you are a Javelin or a Tankazon, which is using a shield, you are going to worry about your block rate. So, for instance, wow, I didn't know you could do that. Amazing. let me edit that out real quick. I don't mean edit it in the video. I just mean I'm going to change her stats. I just put all my points into dexterity. That was amazing. Apparently, if you hold down the shift key while you are inputting your stats, you will automatically put them all into one thing. Alright, so I believe the amount for capped... Oh, I didn't mean to go to hell. I believe the amount for capped block is about 140 something. Which gets you a chance to block of 75%. Now, of course, that depends on your shield. So my shield has a chance to block of 33%. So you can see I don't really have that good chance to block. I need a shield that actually has a higher percentage, and I didn't really bring one with me. That's okay. And so what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you some skills. Hold on. After I tell you about Vitality. Alright, so Amazons don't need energy. They really do not. But you are going to build Vitality. So once you have put in the appropriate number of points into Strength, once you put the appropriate number of points into Dexterity, everything else is going to be stacked into Vitality. This goes for the Boazon, the Tankazon, the Javazon, the Spearazon, whatever Zon you're making, this goes for pretty much all of them. Alright? And let's talk about skills. So, we have two distinct trees, a Javelin and Spear skill tree, and a Bow and Crossbow skill tree. These trees are kind of isolated from each other. So, if you build into the Javelin and Spear skill tree, you're not going to build into the Bow and Crossbow tree. And if you build into the Bow and Crossbow tree, you are not going to build into the Javelin and Spear skill tree. It's just not going to happen. Passive and magic skills, however, are going to be built by both. You're going to want to put at least 1 point into Critical Strike, at least 1 point into Penetrate, no matter what build you're in, at least 1 point into Dodge, at least 1 point into Avoid, at least 1 point into Evade, no matter what build you're in. You may also want to get Inner Sight, although that's up to you. You don't have to. And Pierce is specifically for bows and javelins. So if you are a bow and crossbow or a javelin, throwing javelin, you're going to build Pierce. All right. Critical Strike gives you a chance to double your damage. So if you do 100, it gives you a chance to do 200. If you do 300, it gives you a chance to do 600, etc. Penetrate is going to increase your attack rating, which is your % chance to actually hit targets. So that is going to be good if you are a Spearazon, Tankazon, Javazon, or Boazon. Does not matter. These are your dodges. All right. Now, Amazons have these dodges, and it allows them to be able to completely dodge an attack. But each one is very specific. So this one allows you to dodge melee attacks while standing still. This one allows you to avoid ranged attacks while standing still. And this one allows you to avoid melee and missile attacks while moving. So that's why you would put 1 point into all 3 of these, at the very least. All right. Now, if you're going to build a Tankazon, I would recommend getting your block rating to 75%. And then I would also recommend beefing up some of these dodges as well. And you're definitely going to want to beef up Critical Strike and Penetrate. And if you do happen to be a Tankazon and you beef up all these things to their maximum, at that point, you're probably not going to have much else to put points into, because Tankazons don't really build bow skills, and they don't really build javelin skills. At most, they might build jab, and that's about it. So if you're building a Tankazon, you could probably go ahead and grab a Valkyrie. Valkyries actually benefit from all of your skills. So as you see, they get a passive effect from your decoy, they get a passive effect from Penetrate, Critical Strike, Dodge, Avoid, and Evade, all of them. And they get stronger as you get stronger in those passives. And that's pretty much all a Tankazon is passives. So you're going to be beefing up all your passives as high as you can get them. You really don't have any other purpose for your points, so you might as well. Now, I will throw some caution to the wind here, and that is these evades have extreme diminishing returns. They get to a certain point where they will give you almost nothing. So I want you to see this. So see how avoid is at 55 to 57? Now it's 57 to 58. It's only going up 1%. Now it's going up 2. Now it's going up 1 again. Now it's not even going up at all. Now it's going up by 2. And now it's not going up at all. So you see how the amount that it's actually getting for each level is diminishing, and it just keeps diminishing and keeps diminishing. See what I'm saying? All right. So keep in mind, that before you go into things. And let's go ahead and give her some points so that she can actually put some points into skills. Give me just a second. Actually, no, let's give her 20 to everything. Why not? Done. Alright, now she is going to be a little terrible because she doesn't have any actual good weapon. There's nothing I can do about that.
Not enough mana.
And she doesn't even have enough mana to cast her Valkyrie. Hold on a second. I got you, girl. I got you. Alright. I'm just going to give her some mana for right now just so she can actually cast her stuff. This is things that will be solved by actually building the character correctly and building it with correct gear. But this is just a slap together character specifically for showing off, skills. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop to the Black Marsh. Let's get summon our little Valkyrie. And another thing that she gets is Decoy. Decoy is actually fairly useful for splitting damage. You just summon it, and it's just a little copy of you, and the enemies will attack it instead. The Decoy also gets all your bonuses to dodges and whatnot, so it will stay alive longer, depending on how tanky you are. You got your Inner Sight here, which helps with your attack rating and lights up targets. And then let's go to some of the more favorite skills. Alright. First, we're going to start off with Magic Arrow and guided arrow. Guided arrow is fun. Guided arrow hits a target, comes back around, hits a target again. And depending on your pure skill, it can go through the target and hit it multiple times. Magic arrow converts your damage to magic damage. So 21% of your physical damage is being converted to magic. It is a single shot skill, so it's not the greatest in the world, but magic damage is fairly universal in its usefulness. Not a lot of monsters have magic immunity or magic resistance. Next, let's go to Strafe. So Strafe is best seen in a group of monsters. Let's see if we can find one. With Strafe, your character stands there and shoots at every single target. As you can see, she literally shoots at every single target around you. All the way, just literally moving back and forth, shooting in a circle. I mean, not really a circle, but just literally any target that's nearby, she shoots an arrow at. It's a little mana intensive, so you're going to need some mana steel. But for the most part, you won't have any trouble. There are some fairly successful Strafazons, although it is a physical damage skill, so you may have some trouble actually getting this to work in Hell. You're going to need a lot of physical damage to actually make this work in a Hell difficulty mode. We also have Multi-Shot, which is one of the clear-cut favorites, I think, of pretty much every Amazon that ever existed. Because the more you max it out, the more arrows it shoots. Literally to the point where you can stand in front of somebody and hit somebody with like 18 arrows at one time. Now the main thing that people use Multi-Shot for is lifesteal and mana steal. So let's say you're a freezing arrows on, right? You got your freezing arrows, you're using your freezing arrows, you're murdering with your freezing arrows, right? But you run out of mana. Plink off one Multi-Shot, all your mana comes back, and then you just continue. Plink, fire, 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 plink, fire, 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 plink. And in this way, Multi-Shot can be used to restore mana like extremely effectively, and health. So if you're ever in trouble and you need a little bit of health, see, I think I have 6% mana health steal. So I shoot off my little Multi-Shot. I only do 16 to 37 damage. And as you can see, I'm stealing health from every single target around me. If I was doing some more damage, I would steal more health. But that's about all I can do right now. If I had an actual bow that was worth something. You know, let's go grab her an actual bow that's worth something. We're in Nightmare difficulty. We should be able to go over to L, pick up whatever bow they got in there that's better than this piece of crap that I have on her right now.
You're back.
You're back. Give me a bow. What she got? 3 to 44. 14 to 54. That's a lot better than what I was using.
I can't use this.
And of course she can't use it because she doesn't have the strength requirement. And this is what you have to work on as you build your character. You've got to make your character, you know, with the strength that you need to use your equipment. Granted, as you get higher and higher in levels, you're going to notice that the gear has more and more stats on it, and you might not necessarily need to put so many points into a particular stat. Did I just... No. I think I know what happened. +1 to all Amazon skill levels. I still would like one that has higher damage. Just more than the crap that I'm running right now. Alright, so we've covered multi-shot, we've covered strafe, we've covered guided arrow, and magic arrow. So next we're going to cover a very interesting skill, which is freezing arrow. So freezing arrow and ice arrow are two very cool skills. Get it? Cool. You literally freeze your targets. So it has a duration at max of 4 seconds. It pierces through targets if you have your pierce skill. So it can do damage to multiple enemies multiple times because it has a radius of 3.3 yards. So imagine 1,000 damage-ish, right? You fire your arrow into a group of monsters like this. It pierces through 2 people, does 2,000, pierces through 6 or 7 people there, does, 8, 9, 10,000. Continues to pierce through, does more and more damage each time it pierces. That's one of the amazing things about Pierce, is it allows that kind of stuff to happen. Then you've got Ice Arrow, which is a longer freeze. So Ice Arrow is actually 12 seconds. It can be used defensively. So, if you need to just freeze something for a second or a group of monsters, just fire that off. You got literally 12 seconds to wait. Now, some monsters have half freeze duration and things like that, which are going to reduce your time. But it just depends. As you can see, fairly effective in Nightmare, although not as amazingly effective in Hell, where you have multiple immunities and the resistances are much higher. Now let's move on to Exploding Arrow and Fire Arrow. Or sorry, no. Exploding Arrow and Immolation Arrow. So Immolation Arrow is a lot like Firewall. See, it leaves a nice burning puddle. And if you fire it through multiple targets, it leaves multiple nice burning puddles. It does a small amount of damage per second, 274 to 278, and it lasts for 4 seconds. It also has a explosion radius of, what is it? Does it say the radius? Where's the radius at? Creates a fire upon impact. It's about 1,500. And then we've got Explosion Arrow, which has that nice exploding radius, which can hit multiple targets. One of the cool things about these fire skills is that if you have a sorceress that has enchant, they actually add to your fire damage on these attacks, as well as the explosion. So the explosion that does... what is it? 540 to 629. And this one is 1,560 to 1,935.3. You actually get a bonus directly to that explosion as well, which is pretty cool. And that pretty much covers all the bow skills. Let's talk about some of the javelin skills. So the javelin skills are very interesting because they are either poison or lightning. Alright, so we have our javelin tree here. And as you can see, we have poison javelin, we have plague javelin, and then we have the lightning tree. So we got power strike, lightning bolt, charge bolt, lightning strike, and lightning fury. Now, lightning fury is the one that everybody has so much fun with, and I'm going to show you why. So for every target that lightning fury hits, it releases 22 bolts. Okay. If you hit multiple targets, it releases more bolts. And the more targets it hits, the more bolts it releases, to the point where it literally will hit thousands of targets. See that beautifulness? Let me see if I can find a good group of monsters to really show you the massive amount of bolts that come out. As you can see, it just murdered everything within range. And it's because the pierce effect really multiplies it. So as you can imagine, with 22 bolts, if it pierces 2 targets, that's 44. If it pierces 10 targets, that's 220 bolts. If it pierces 20 targets, That is literally 440 bolts of lightning, and each bolt of lightning does around 1 to 1,100 damage, and it just adds up to massive, massive amounts of bolts and massive, massive amounts of damage. Let's pretend we got a good solid strike, right? We managed to punch through 10 targets. We do an average of 500, let's say 600 damage a throw, or rather a bolt. So 600 times 22. That's almost not correct. 600 times 22. All right. That's 13,200. All right. And then we managed to pierce through 10 targets. So that's 132,000 lightning damage in one throw. And we can throw multiple times. So, it's not like we're limited. We can just keep on chucking. Now, granted, if they die, well, obviously we can't throw anymore. But that's not going to stop us from finding a new target to throw at. Now, Lightning Fury has many passives. So you got Power Strike, Lightning Bolt, Charge Strike, and Lightning Strike. So to fully max out Lightning Fury like I have it right now, it's going to cost you 20. It's going to cost you 40, 60, 80, 100. So you're going to have a long time before you end up with it at this particular level, because you're not going to beef up all of these passives and Lightning Fury on top of it, plus have points into your passives. You're going to have to pick and choose, and it's going to be which ones that you really want. Now, Lightning Strike is also interesting, but Lightning Strike really only hits melee, as you can see. So this would be more something that you might want to do on like a Tankazon. Ooh, a Superior Pavis. A Pavis. But it's very similar to Lightning Fury in a way. The thing is that Lightning Strike does not have the ability to pierce through targets, obviously. So you're not going to be able to get that amazing, massive number of lightning bolts all at once. It's only going to be the initial 22. And then we have Plague Javelin, which is poison-based. Leaves a nice little trail through the air. It does have a rather long cooldown, so it's not something that you can just spam. And we have Charged Strike. Charged Strike is charge bolts. It's a lot like the sorceress skill that we talked about in one of the other videos. As you can see, the little bolts come out. It's not really the most effective skill in the world, but it does about 3,000 damage at max. That's with all the synergies, of course. Not much left to kill here. How dare you guys all die? Don't you know better? Then we have Lightning Bolt. So this one converts all of your physical damage to lightning damage. So if you happen to build very effectively in the physical damage area, you're going to be able to convert all that to lightning, which may or may not be effective. It's nowhere near as effective as Lightning Fury, in my opinion, but it's still a fun one, nonetheless. And I'm using a base level Javelin right now, as you can see. This is literally the starter 6 to 14 Javelin. The next thing we have is Poison Javelin. Poison Javelin does a max of 10,000 to 11,000 poison damage. Very, very, very high poison damage. Of course, if the target is immune to poison, I mean, I suppose you could also stack poison on top of that if you really wanted to. Might be very effective in PvP, just because poison is so evil. I think rabies on the werewolf is more effective, though, because it's uncurable. Unless you go to, like, Atma or something. And did we get all the javelins? No, we're missing Power Strike. So Power Strike is another melee attack. And just going to go ahead and stab. See? Nice and stabby. Massive amounts of lightning damage. Very good lightning damage tree. But of course you need to use a spear or a javelin.
I am overburdened.
I am overburdened. And what else is there? Alright, so we're on to mainly the melee skills. So we have Jab. I really liked Jab because it's very similar to Zeal, I think. In the way that it just simply spams attacks at a target. Now, it's strictly physical damage. So it's not going to be the absolute best thing to use. As you can see, it's just jab, 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 jab. Very good for maybe like a Tankazon or a Spearazon if you're using a two-handed spear as a fast attack. You also have Impale, which does massive amounts of damage but will break your weapon very quickly. It's also very slow, though. And I find that it's difficult to use because of how slow. I mean, it is like a big wind-up attack. You know, it's like... the durability loss is not really a huge deal, especially if you have like a, you know, indestructible weapon. And then the last one is Fend. Fend is also very similar to Zeal. You basically hit all targets around you once, but only once. Unlike Zeal that hits all targets around you up to 5 times. So if there's only one target, you only hit one. If there's 2 targets, you hit both. If there's 6 targets, you hit all 6. It's a very interesting skill. I'm not really quite sure about it. I don't think I ever really built a Fend Amazon. I think mainly because it's just not very good at single target. No. See, there's a rat head. Sucky. And what's left to talk about here? We've talked about Jab, we talked about Impale, Fend, Power Strike, Charge Strike, Lightning Strike, Poison Javelin, Lightning Bolt, Plague Javelin, Lightning Fury. We talked about all these as well. And all the passives and magics. So obviously with Amazons, there are multiple ways that you can build them. You can literally build a tanky, super tanky Amazon with a sea shield and a sword. You can build a two-handed spear Amazon. You can build a Boazon. You can build a javelin throwing Zon. You know, you can build a javelin melee Zon. The Amazon definitely has a lot of very interesting ways that it can be built. And, you know, don't underestimate Amazons. They are definitely fun to build. And I think that, you know, if you enjoy ranged classes, you'd have fun on Amazon. And even if you enjoy melee classes, there's ways to make Amazons into very effective melee characters. Now, granted, Amazons are far more gear-based than, for instance, a sorceress. So you're going to have to get a nice javelin. You're going to have to get, you know, a nice bow, or you're going to have a nice spear, or, you know, if you're going to be a Tankazon, you're going to need some good tanky equipment, good shield, etc., nice block chance. These characters are very fun to build because you can really kind of make them how you want them. If you want 1 point into multi-shot or 6 points into multi-shot, so you can have that extra lifesteal, or maybe you want a badass Valkyrie. You know, maybe that's what you want. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to the Amazon. And keep watching.
He's a little booty. He's got a little booty, right? That's a cute little booty. Really cute.